Hello and welcome to Three Questions with. Got my friend Stephen Hoffman with us from Select Communication. Stephen, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kevin.
So, Stephen, let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about Select Communications.
Well, Select Communications, we offer people a platform for IT decision making, access to the very best people and technology in the market. So, we represent your industry leaders like your AT&Ts and Verizons, but also regional niche players, and then we put them against each other to bring our customers the best value.
So, Stephen, one of the things I saw on your LinkedIn profile that really caught my attention is it said that people are roughly paying over 40% more for their telecommunications than they should. How is that happening?
Well, they're on old plans, or they just didn't have a champion like us to help negotiate better plans. And plus, it's harder to research options when with someone like Select, we have 88 phone providers. Now, I promise I would never bring my customers 88 choices, but we just know from experience, what's the best. And then once we actually quote this out, typically we're able to, on average, save 40 to 50%.
I really like that because I know I went through this when I was CFO of the bank. Like I said, I'm CFO, I'm not an expert on phones, but I'm trying to save money. And you're looking at it saying, okay, but which one's right? Because obviously working in a bank, uptime's important, reliability is important. Okay, Kev tried to save a couple extra bucks and made the wrong choice. I'm going to hear about that from the president and my board. So you can kind of guide people to, okay, this is a good price and a reliable company so that they don't make the mistakes that I may have made.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember the terminology way back in the day. I've been in this industry for over 30 years, but I might have been trying to get out for 29, but don't tell anyone. But there was an old adage that said nobody ever got fired by staying with AT&T. Now that's changed from that. But all the providers that we have are tier one providers, most of them covered by Gartner, who's our industry trade person. So they're not fast food regional, players. They have to have like $1 billion in revenue. They're solid. They all have backup data centers. So just some charge less than others, depending if you need all the features of whistles and bells, or if you just want the basic phone service. So we help our customers, figure out what they want, and based on, what the guidelines they've given me, I go out and find the best value for them.
So, Stephen, now that we have, a lot of people working from home, maybe across the country, how does that impact my telephone needs? Can you guide people through what to do with that?
Yeah, in fact, it's interesting because I'm getting a lot of people, Kevin, that say, what about my home workers? They don't really need a phone. They use their cell phone. How can I make them part of my PBX? And the great thing is now there's soft phones and mobile apps that you can put on personal mobile phones. In fact, we can even save companies money on company cell phones because you really don't need those anymore, because the mobile app, protects the data, so it's still the company's data. When you make and receive calls, it's like you're calling from your desk. You can have extension dialing and all that. So you can take a phone home and plug it in if you want, but most of our home workers just use a headset like I have right now, just like they're on Zoom or Teams, and are able to make and receive calls and be part of the system as well.
So, Stephen, that must be a really big savings because I can remember back in the day, like everyone needed a cell phone and that got costly, to be honest. But now, like you said, with the soft phones and things like that, maybe it's not necessarily as big a need as it was.
Yes, it isn't, because you can do everything on the personal cell phone. Because again, the biggest thing I get from companies is, well, what happens if they leave the company? I want my data protected. I want, the list of calls received, voicemails to be part of, our company and not, a personal cell phone. And what's nice is all the information that's on the smartphone app is not stored on a personal cell phone. It's part of your data. You own it. So if that person does have to leave, and you take them out of the system, they don't have access to it anymore. So you own the intelligence, you own the phone numbers, everything in there.
So that's what's kind of neat. So if I had this app on my phone, it would look like I was dialing you from my business number rather than my personal cell.
That's correct. It will give the caller ID either of the main number, or if they have their own direct dial number, it'll provide that as well.
That's really amazing because that's always been a concern, of employees. Well, I'm using my personal cell phone. And like you mentioned, Stephen, what if I leave the company, and you're still getting calls, a year later, from clients saying, hey, I haven't worked there in a year. Stop calling me. This kind of protects both parties, right?
It does, and you can either reassign that to a new person, or you can have the phone number go to the main receptionist, whatever you want. That's the other thing with the cloud phones, it's very easy to do call routing. It's instantaneous, and there's really nothing you can't do with a cloud phone as far as routing, versus, the old time phone systems.
That's really kind of amazing. So, Stephen, if people have questions, what's the best way for them to reach out to you to learn more, my friend?
They can call me at 972-625-0065, or reach out to me on email, s.hoffman@selectcommunications.com.
Stephen, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call into the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.